Good afternoon. Thanks to all of you for coming. This is always a very special event here at Chautauqua. This is a writing contest sponsored by the Friends of the Chautauqua Writers Center, which is a group that formed back in the day when the Writers Center was completely separate from the institution. It kind of coexisted for a number of years, and then the institution incorporated it into their programming. The writing contests themselves started out with poetry contests almost 100 years ago. Women's Club would sponsor poetry contests, and then gradually different groups took them on, and I think they've been running continuously, to my understanding, until now. We do, of course, get support from the Department of Education through the literary arts area, and Sabine and her colleagues have been wonderful help to us in everything that we do. Say hello to Sabine. We're one of the most underappreciated people here. So I'll tell you very briefly about the contest. We have 3 categories. We have an adult category, 21 and up. No, I think actually 17. And we have a young adult category, 13 to 17, and then we have a youth category, younger than 13. Our judges vary from year to year, and they are all professional writers, teachers, and have usually quite a number of publications among them. There are 2 endowed first place prizes in the adult category. The first is the Charles Corporal Hauser First Place Prose Prize, which was designated for the best adult story, essay, memoir, or other example of strong creative prose. Chuck Hauser was a foreign correspondent for UPI and later a longtime editor of Providence Journal, which is now called Providence Journal in Rhode Island. In 1985, he made national news in the First Amendment case, in which he received a prison sentence. After his retirement, he attended workshops here in Chautauqua at the Writers Center, and in the early 2000s was a member of the Writers Center board. The second endowed prize is the Mary Jean Harriman Poetry Prize for first place. Mary Jean was a writer who, along with her husband, who was a seminary professor, Paul Harriman, spent 40 summers in Chautauqua. In 1988, he founded and was the first director of the Writers Center, and again, this was an independent organization at that time. They held the activities in their home, which is on Miller Avenue, and it was entirely staffed by volunteers. It was independent of the Chautauqua institution for the first 20 years of its existence. Around 2008, the institution had taken over the CLSC and renovated the building that we know as Alumni Hall, and the Writers Center was then taken over by the institution and incorporated into the newly created Literary Arts Center, thus the sign of the. So this year, we were lucky to have 3 judges, 1 for adult prose, 1 for adult and young adult poetry, and 1 for youth prose and poetry, which is a combined category. Our adult prose judge, John Brantingham, is the recipient of the New York State Arts Council grant and was Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park's first poet laureate. His work has appeared in hundreds of magazines and in the Best Small Fiction of 2016 and again in 2022. He has written 22 books of poetry, nonfiction, and fiction. And he is actually going to read for us today as well, separate from all that. He wanted to just wait, say hello, stand up, and everything. Our judge for the poetry, Jillian Haynes, unfortunately could not be with us today. She was Buffalo's first founding poet laureate. She was born on 85, started writing at age 7, and she was composing songs for her mother's church performance. She founded founded Literary Freedom and Buffalo Book, and received the National Award Emmy in the Big Stop Outstanding Writing category. She travels nationwide performing, teaching, and speaking truth to power. And last but not least, our youth prose and poetry judge is Camille Carter. She's a poet and educator who lives and teaches in New York, where she is pursuing her PhD in comparative literature. Her work appears or is forthcoming in the Best American Poetry 2025, the American Poetry Review, New American Writing, Poetry Magazine, Passages North, and Rarest. This summer, she is the Literary Arts Graduate Fellow here at Hopkins. So as you can see, we have very impressive judgment. So on to the award. I will mention that for those who have given permission, and I think everyone has this year, all of the award winners, both prose and poetry. We print those in a booklet and put it in the library. You can go read them there. It's not for checking out, but we will leave that booklet in there until next week. So I will try to get that done by the end of the week if I can pull that up. So we'll start with the adult prose award. The first award is an honorable mention to John Fusarian, who unfortunately is not with us today. His piece was called Hunger is the Same Hunger, and it addresses the tension between traditional culture and digital culture. John is a Spanish professor at Texas Tech University. This was his first summer in Chicago, having been invited by his in-laws. He loved meeting George Saunders and attending the opera workshop for Lincoln Eduardo. John tries to write every morning for 2 hours. Last summer he wrote a novel in English, and now he's writing a second novel in Spanish. So congratulations to John, who perhaps is watching. Our second place award in adult prose category is awarded to Kathy Knight-Perry. Her award is for her piece called Mom's Role, which is about multiple generations and Southern culture. Kathy's from Louisville, and is delighted that she accepted last-minute invitation to spend a week in what she calls this magical place. In retirement, she's been volunteering for nonprofit organizations and helping to alleviate food insecurity. She writes a taste column for the Elizabethtown News Enterprise, combining her love of cooking with her love of storytelling. She has been a frequent storyteller on the Mock Story Slam stage, as well as a Mock Grand Slam winner, and has been featured on the Mock podcast. For the past year, she has belonged to a writing group in Bardstown, Kentucky called Women of Work. Congratulations to Kathy. The first place Charles and Coral Helper Prize goes to David Blackmore for a piece he wrote called The Official Preppy Handbook. Unfortunately, David is not here today. He's an associate professor of English and writing coordinator at Chatham University in Pittsburgh. He's also a student in Chatham's MFA program in creative writing. He's been coming to Chicago since he was a kid, and his favorite memories are from summers during the 1980s that he spent here with other college students working at the Athenaeum and the old St. Malmo Hotel. He recently completed a memoir manuscript titled Chemical Works Road, and has published excerpts from it in journals including Wayfarer Magazine, The Fourth River, and Northern Appalachia Review. So because he's the first place winner, I am going to read what the judge's comments were for the official Preppy Handbook. This captures a specific time and place beautifully, from the social anxiety of the main character to the cultural markers of the 1980s in Rome, Italy. The author locates us inside the world of the character and reminds us of what it was to live in that time and at that place. By doing this, the author creates a beautifully human world and reminds all of us who have felt like outsiders that though we felt alone, we were not and are not alone in this world. Beautifully rendered. Congratulations to David. Okay, on to poetry, where we'll be able to have some reading. All right, the first award is honorable mention to Michael Field. My printer did get to serve it. I'm going to have to read off my. Michael and his wife have been coming to Chicago from their retirement home in North Carolina since 2017. Michael tries to take advantage of the full range of special studies, Writer Center, and friends in the Chicago Writer Center offerings, especially open mic and informal critiques. When not writing, Michael and his wife enjoy travel and singing, including some Sundays with the Chicago Choir. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's in a barbershop. Is that right? Yeah. Michael thanks all who make Chicago a magical Caribbean each summer. And our friend John Brantingham is here to read Michael's piece, which is called Sailing Tree.
Sailing Tree by Michael, a prose poem. Tears streaming down my face. He jumped off my cheek, onto the card, punched in my hand, onto the face looking back at me. Just back from the funeral, I opened the mailbox, where the hand-addressed envelope stood out the ads and bills. Then I tore open the flap, 2 words in the face, a gut punch. Then my tears poured out, in memoriam, and the face of my cousin. Frozen in time, looking back at me. Jim, my only first cousin, dead. An adjacent branch of his sparse family tree broken off. Separated by a continent, I could count on my fingers the times we were together. Yet, now an intense breeze pierces my heart. Too many deaths, things come in threes. This is the 3rd family death in this many months. One expected, one not, Jim. My heart is tired from breathing, yet my head knows there is more, something deeper. Growing up, I wore a hand-me-down from a decade older Jim, yet something much stronger connects our lives. 3,000 miles separated our homes. Despite that, on our family tree, our branches grew side by side. His father, my mother, 2 offshoots from the common limb, my maternal grandmother. My grandmother was, without words, first spiritual teacher in my life. Every emotion I have ever felt rises from the sacred path of her being infused in me. Every funeral, the tears I shed, the tears of her. The breaking of Jim's branch, the thinning of the family tree, leaves my branch hanging alone. My tears shed my grandmother, half a century gone, anoint the face looking back at me. The face of her other grandson, now gone. Thank you.
Our next award is honorable mention to Shayman Mahmood. Are you sure? Shayna lives in Venus Point, just across the lake, and she has been in competition for a long time. And she has been to 20 countries and studied international relations, with I guess, an emphasis in the Netherlands. You might say that correctly. For her master's, she's been writing since she was a child, scribbling in a glitter front diary, and loves how it has traveled in the shape of her life. She believes telling stories, preserving memories, and sharing perspective, especially of the marginalized and silenced, are some of the most important in life for, especially now. During the summer, you might see her at the Matthew Farms Market, where her parents and she sell homemade bread and desserts. So her piece, her winning piece, is called Merely Transformed, and we are lucky to have her here today. Merely Transformed. I still can't think of a face the same way. Knowing a lost crawls inside to die, to make the fruit we called ambrosia, mashed by the bushel into crimson jam. The way a dandelion whittles itself down, like shimmered milkweed floating off, making new leaves a mile, 20 away, offering flowers to bees after the harsh winter. The way life works, cast the shadow, the forming of negative space between the light and the rest, like a death doula, a weeping willow. The things that we lose making us whole in some other way, and all we have to do is buy them the time to show us what's just on the other side. Our next award is a third place prize to Liana Lopez for her piece Escape from Spring Haiku. And I believe she's here. Yeah. Wonderful. Liana is an Afro-Latina poet and artist, currently serving as a literary arts intern here at Chicago. She was born and raised in San Diego and has lived in Austin since 2018. A recent first-generation honors graduate, Liana holds an associate arts degree in creative writing from Austin Community College and is currently pursuing her bachelor of arts degree in creative writing in English at St. Olaf College.
Quickly note, this is my subject summer at Chicago. Last year, I was one of 12 scholars on providing the contact for one leadership round. And during that meeting, I attended the CLSC author presentation for those who wrote Here is a Hall of Philosophy. Part of my sponsorship required a final reflection of my experience here at Chicago. This was also at the Hall of Philosophy. And I remember being so inspired and promising to myself that one day I would return to Chicago and the stage to present my own writing. And I never expected such a quick turnaround. I'm really honored to present this today. This is Escape from Spring Haiku. Half trampled I am, the dandelion begging for the greener grass.
Thank you, Liana. Our next awardist is Jane Peppercorn, who unfortunately is not with us today. Her piece is called Shape Shifting. Jane managed the arts program for a large urban school district and was assigned to task with grant writing. As a result, she says, I have searched for the right words all my life. Brazil and she began coming to Chicago and taking writer's ed classes, she discovered she could craft her words into poems. Practicing the craft has become the challenging work of her retired life. So I am going to read a piece. With my aunt as my guide to their origin, I studied the quilt my grandmother made stitch by stitch with her work-worn hands. And I discovered that she was a state sister who salvaged the rags of life, lined them with wool satin, and then set about the work of transforming detritus into reflections of her unrecognized artistic soul. Because she beheld the work that remained in drag, washed out overall denim was renewed in the beauty of her bow ties, eighth grade arithmetic guided her needle as the outgrown threadbare handmade dresses of her daughters sparkled into the geometric wonders of stars that shine. World War II speed sacks morphed into suits and sunbonnets. My father's manure-stained shirt faded into deepness like double wedding ring made from her Sunday best dresses, won the county fair's first prize. Most meaningful to me, a late display of her being, the final show of her alchemic power, the scraps of the scraps, tiny bits and pieces she saved doggedly, conjured into a crazy she passed me at my wedding that for years has covered built in my sleep with her soul. So, our first place winner for the Mary Jean Arian Prize goes to Roger Mann, who is not here today. This piece is called Care for Babies. Roger Mann and his wife Beverly have been coming to Chicago from Raleigh, North Carolina since 2019. Roger is a disability rights advocate and recently retired from the clinical faculty of Campbell Law School. He has dabbled in poetry since he was a child. He reports that retirement has freed up his time, brain, and heart for more artistic endeavors. He hopes that his work will inspire deep reflection and action on behalf of social justice, peace, and earth stewardship. And I will read the judge's comment for the first place winner. This poem started off so innocent and beautiful. The imagery brought a warm smile to my face, only to be followed by a gut-wrenching reality. This piece masterfully captured my emotions and convictions while shining a light on real and horrific experiences of men living in war-torn lands with a tender boldness that can only be seen in this art. So, for Roger, his friends feel about this will read this piece.
Care for babies. This world comes into focus slowly. He breathes serenely in loving arms, skin to skin, bond through scent and nose-to-nose kiss. He turns toward the voice of the familiar one, giving and receiving peace and comfort. He generates soft smiles, eliciting tenderness unexpected His whimper of discontent follows the satisfaction of warm milk and precedes the cry, bringing a gentle patting of the back, the relief of the first, and a thoughtful lullaby. So much care and comfort for this premature love, the vulnerable darling cannot sustain. When the missiles shriek and the bombs explode and the people scream and the debris scatters and the dust forms and the sirens wail and the fires rage and the smoke consumes and the wounded moan and the mother's body does not move. And the father panics when vengeful thoughts have consummated to pure preciousness and display care of Jesus.
All right, now we are going to move on to the young adult poetry category. Our winner this year is Clara Milton Baumwalt, who I do not believe Clara is here. Am I right? Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad you had anywhere to come. Clara is 13. She's been coming to Chicago all her life. She attends school in Hastings-on-Hudson, New York, and plays tennis, field hockey, lacrosse, and volleyball. She's also been playing the violin since she was 3 years old. She writes a lot of stories and poems for school assignments and for class. She reads many favorite books, but she says she mostly depends on her Kindle, which not only holds her personal library, but is easier to carry. She has 2 dogs named Marley and Lucky, and a 15-year-old sister named Maya. The dogs, Maya, her mom, and Steve stayed with her grandparents when they come to the top. Her winning piece is called Reaching for the Stars. It's a poem booklet. I will just quote a little bit of the judge's comment. The entire poem booklet feels or features a perfect blend of love, grief, and gratitude. And our friend Nora Reed will read Claire's piece.
Reaching for the Stars, a poem booklet by Sarah. Dedicated to my dad, who died when I was 9. You hugged and twirled me around the air and I fly. You pulled me into your warm arms under the sky, and I reached for the stars, where you will rest in many years, for many years. I will count your constellations, each and every one. 2018. Down and down and down falls water into your glass, into your bottle. Down and down falls my heart, out of my chest, into your love, into our bond. Up and up you are, up on the cloud, up near the sun. And it's just too bad that it's just too high. 5 days, 5 long, anxious days. Day 1, I called, you don't answer. I call again. Voicemail. Dad, are you busy? Chicago's fun, but I wish you were here. Call me back. Miss you. Love, your daughter. Day 2. Ring, 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 ring. Voicemail. It's always voicemail. Call me back so we know you're okay. Love you all. Day 3. A text. Dad, it's me again. You're not answering your call. You okay? Please text or call. Sending you all my love. Day 4. Hey, hurry. Call Dad. No ring. Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you are trying to reach is unavailable. At the tone, please record your message. When you are finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options. Day 5. Walking up the steps on Locust. When Mom is getting that cold, I'm Locust. I'm glad to be so before I can find out the news, because hope is dangerous, more than disappointment or misery. Instead of just either of those two, it extends them. You can't get deeper than rock bottom, as you can't reach higher than zero. Roses are red, violets are blue. You're forever gone, and I wish I was too, just to be with you. You were done at dawn, my fabulous, affable, terrifically hard-looking, excellent, rarely, which you will always be. I love you. I love you so much. I love you to the stars. I love you through the sun. I love you more than phone. I love you more than God. I've loved you for long. I will love you forever and even more. Done in poetry today, if you would like to read it.
That'll be part of the goal for this, I'm just going to check these to Claire and give us permission. Our last reader, our last winner is Leah Bird. She's in the youth category, which is a combined category. This is actually a post piece of this short. Leah is 9, and has been coming to talk about her whole life. She lives in New York City and is a 4th grader at Central Park East 1 Elementary School in Harlem. She loves to sing, and her favorite color is green. She has always loved to write stories because she finds it challenging and fun. And again, to quote her judge, this story shows an up-and-coming writer with a vivid imagination and real talent for storytelling. Congratulations on this well-deserved first place. So, Leah,
The bunny walk because we usually see bunnies. But I did go to Emmett and I just firefly and let them fly up. Tonight I got to look at popsicle wall. I held that in one hand and caught fireflies in the other. We walked up the street next to us and checked the good bunny spot. We didn't see any bunnies, so we turned and kept walking. We turned left onto the street beside a little garden. Then right on the street where our friends lived. John and Bill have 2 cats. Their names are Diana and Faith. Diana and things are very, very tall. Now, we wanted to see if they would run up to us. They didn't. That was okay though, because we figured they were tired. Then we turned around and started walking straight down the hill. On the left side of the hill, there is another big bunny hill. We looked, nobody. At the end of the hill, we looked both ways and crossed. On the other side, there is a bridge called Thunder Bridge. It's called Thunder Bridge because when you go across it, it makes a sound of thunder. When you go across with the bike, it really makes a sound. On the other side of the bridge, there is a brick walk. Then on the road, when you kept going straight and across two more streets by the Hall of Mountains, and then we got to another group of spots. At this point, I was feeling worried because of seeing bunnies. And there was a bunny right there. He was closer. We looked at it for a few seconds, and then I hopped away into the bushes. My brother said, "Now it's really cool to bunny one." And it really, really was. Yeah.
End of our program. Thank you everyone for being here today and supporting our writers of all ages. And for those of you who like to write, keep writing and apply the content next year. Have a good afternoon.